हाँ जी, सत श्री अकाल जी सारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਆवर ਚੈਨਲ। ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਹੈ ਹਾਊ ਟੂ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਡਾਊਟਸ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਮਗਰ ਭੱਜ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਫਲੂਐਂਸੀ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਨੰਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ। ਸੋ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਐਂਡ ਤੱਕ ਜਰੂਰ ਬਣੇ ਰਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਡਾਊਟਸ ਨੇ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਡਾਊਟ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ 2024 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਵਰਕ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੋਈ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਇੰਸਟੀਚਿਊਟ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਬਦਲਾਵ ਜਾਂ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਏ। ਬਟ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਫਲੂਐਂਸੀ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਨੰਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਆ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੀਡ ਅਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲ ਦੇਣਗੇ, ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਡ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਗੇ, ਬਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ। ਤਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਲਈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰਿਪੇਅਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ 25 ਤੋਂ 30 ਸੈਕਿੰਡਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਨ ਬਿਟਵੀਨ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿੱਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਦੇਖੋ, ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਿਕਚਰ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਗ੍ਰਾਫ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਬਾਰ ਗ੍ਰਾਫ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਪਾਈ ਚਾਰਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਟੈਬੂਲਰ ਚਾਰਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਦੀ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਦਾ ਗਿਵਨ ਗ੍ਰਾਫ। ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਰੈਂਡਮ ਪਿਕਚਰ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਦਾ ਗਿਵਨ ਪਿਕਚਰ। The given picture shows the information about dash, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਫਿਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ from the picture I can see, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਡ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਗਲਤੀ ਇਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਕਲਰਸ ਐਡ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੈਲਿਊਏਬਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ। ਬਟ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਨੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੀ ਲੈਂਥ ਨੂੰ ਵਧਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਲਰ ਐਡਿੰਗ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬਟ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਲਰ ਐਡ ਕਰਨੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਸਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਐਡ ਕਰੋ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਓਵਰਆਲ ਦਿਸ ਇਮੇਜ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਟਿਵ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੈਪ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਲਰ ਨੂੰ ਐਡ ਕਰੋ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਬੋਲਣ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ, ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਡ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਗਲਤੀ, ਬਹੁਤ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਇੱਕੋ ਦਮ ਸਪੀਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਪਰਫਾਰਮ ਕਰਨਾ, ਬੋਲਣਾ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਲੂਐਂਸੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ। ਤਾਂ ਬੈਸਟ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਈਨ ਬੋਲੋ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲਓ, ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਬੋਲੋ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲਓ, ਥਰਡ ਲਾਈਨ ਬੋਲੋ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲਓ। ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਲੂਐਂਸੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਆਉਣਗੇ। ਨੈਕਸਟ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ 30 ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਜਾਂ 25 ਸੈਕਿੰਡਸ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰਿਪੇਅਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਲਿਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਵਰਡ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਨਾਉਂਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਵਰਡ ਨੂੰ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਮੇਜ ਇਹ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਬੋਲ ਦੂੰਗਾ, ਬਟ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਰਡਸ ਨੂੰ ਗਲਤ ਪ੍ਰੋਨਾਉਂਸ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵਰਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਟਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਬੋਲਾਂ, ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਪਲਾਨ ਆਊਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਪਲਾਨ ਆਊਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਸਕੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੈਟ ਕਰ ਪਾਓਗੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਚਾਹੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਘੱਟ ਐਡ ਕਰੀਏ ਬਟ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਈਟਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੈਂਡ ਸਕੋਰ ਦੇਣ ਦਾ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਟੇਰੀਆ ਆ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੀਅਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਆ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਟੋਟਲੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਾ ਡਿਪੈਂਡੈਂਟ ਰਹੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਕੇ ਸਕੋਰਿੰਗ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੇਮ ਸਕੋਰਿੰਗ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਉਣਗੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਪ ਯੂਨੀ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੁਝ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ, ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਪਰਫੈਕਟ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਦਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੀਅਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਵੇਂ ਦੀ ਸਕੋਰਿੰਗ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਕੁਝ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ ਬਾਕੀ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਸਕੋਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਫੈਕਟ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਪ ਯੂਨੀ ਤੋਂ ਪਰਫਾਰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਲੋ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੈਂਟ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਨੰਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਰਡਸ ਰੈੱਡ ਨੇ, ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਯੈਲੋ ਨੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਪੁੱਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਲੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਸਪੀਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਤੇਜ਼ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਉਦੋਂ ਐਪ ਯੂਨੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੋਰ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੈਂਡ ਸਕੋਰ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੌਜ਼ਸ ਲੈ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਫਲੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਥੋੜੇ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲੈਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ, ਕੌਮੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਾਂ ਫੁੱਲ ਸਟਾਪ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲੈਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ, ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸਕੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ। ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਕੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰੀਅਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਕੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਗੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਰਡਸ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵਰਡ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਨੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵਰਡ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਯੈਲੋ ਨੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਨੰਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਜਾਂ ਫਲੂਐਂਸੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕੋ ਦਮ ਤੇਜ਼ ਬੋਲ ਦੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਐਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਕੋਰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ, ਬਟ ਰੀਅਲ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਕੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਗੇ। ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਰੈਂਡਮ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਾਊਟ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੈਂਡਮ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੋਲੀਏ। ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਸਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਸਕਰੀਨਸ਼ਾਟ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਿਸ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੈਂਡਮ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ, ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਆਮ ਬਾਰ ਗ੍ਰਾਫ ਜਾਂ ਪਾਈ ਚਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬੈਂਡ ਸਕੋਰ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਲਾਸਿਸ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਫਲਾਈਨ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਲਾਸਿਸ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਇਹ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਪਰਫਾਰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਕੋਰ ਦੇਖ ਹੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੀਲਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਪੀਕਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 90 ਸਕੋਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਗੈਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ। ਉਸ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਨ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰਟਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ, ਉਹ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਐਡ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, ਬਸ ਉਹ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਮੇਨ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ 90 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 90 ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਡ ਆਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ, ਜਦੋਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਨੋਟਬੁੱਕ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਵਰਡ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਨਾਉਂਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ, ਔਰ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ, ਕਿੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੌਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ, ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪਲਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ 7.5, 8 ਔਰ 9 ਸਕੋਰ ਵੀ ਗੈਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਟੈਂਪਲੇਟ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਇੰਸਟੀਚਿਊਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪੌਜ਼ ਲੈਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖੋ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਵਰਡ ਦੀ ਕੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਨੰਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖੋ, ਪਲੱਸ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਮਗਰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਾ ਭੱਜੋ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੇ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 8, 8.5 ਔਰ 9 ਸਕੋਰ ਗੈਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਔਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ, ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰੋ, ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਬੱਚੇ ਫਲੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੋਲਦੇ 15 ਤੋਂ 20 ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇੱਥੋਂ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਫਾਸਟ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਬਟ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਂਡ ਸਕੋਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ। ਤਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇਹ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ 60 ਤੋਂ 70% ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰੋ। ਇੱਕ ਫਲੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ, ਔਰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ 25 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 30 ਸੈਕਿੰਡਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ 20 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 30 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੌਜ਼ਸ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਲੈ ਸਕੋਗੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਫਿਲ ਆਊਟ ਕਰ ਸਕੋਗੇ, ਪਲੱਸ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਮੇਜ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਫੈਕਟ ਵੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੋਲ ਸਕੋਗੇ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਫਲਾਈਨ ਇਨਕੁਆਇਰੀਜ਼ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ WhatsApp ਨੰਬਰ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਕਾਲਿੰਗ ਨੰਬਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਪਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਡਡ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅਗਰ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਚੰਗੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਦੋਸਤਾਂ ਮਿੱਤਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਬ ਕੇ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੋ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਇਮੇਜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨੰਬਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ। ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਲਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਦਾ ਬਟਨ ਦਬਾ ਕੇ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਔਨ ਕਰ ਲਓ। ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਨਵੇਂ ਕੰਟੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ, ਬਾਏ ਬਾਏ।
Individuals who suffer from concussions often experience moderate to severe headaches in the weeks following the injury. However, A recent study has discovered that a combination of two commonly used anti-nausea medications, administered intravenously in the emergency room, may provide more effective relief for these headaches compared to a placebo. A recent study has revealed the significance of communication and expertise in organizations and their impact on group performance. The researchers investigated the process of individuals joining communication networks and how selection procedures affect group performance. The findings indicate that individuals who communicate more during training are more likely to be selected as a central member of the network. According to a recent study, a star located near the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy has been determined to have originated from outside the galaxy. This discovery marks the first instance of a star from another galaxy being identified in close proximity to a supermassive black hole. Urban forests play a crucial role in promoting urban sustainability and resilience. They contribute to climate change mitigation by sequestering carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. Urban forests also help manage stormwater runoff by absorbing and filtering rainwater, reducing the risk of flooding. Furthermore, these green spaces provide social and psychological benefits, such as stress reduction and improved mental well-being. One of the complex agricultural problems is the issue of food waste. Food waste refers to the discarding of edible food at various stages of the food supply chain, from production to consumption. This not only represents a significant loss of resources but also has environmental implications, such as greenhouse gas emissions from decomposing food waste in landfills. Scientists have achieved the restoration of impaired brain function in mice models of stroke by utilizing small molecules, which may hold promise as a potential therapy for stroke recovery in the future. Tadeusz Wheelock explains that the treatment has demonstrated the ability to partially restore communication between nerve cells in significant areas of the brain that are affected by stroke. In recent years in the UK, we have seen an increase in mental health problems among young people, so there has been an increased focus on how to support students. Here we have found concerning evidence that students may have a higher risk of depression and anxiety than their peers of the same age who are not in higher education. A recent study published in the open access journal PLOS One suggests that dog-assisted interventions can effectively reduce stress levels in children, regardless of whether they have special needs or not. The study, conducted by Kirsten Mintz and colleagues from the University of Lincoln, UK, measured salivary cortisol levels to determine the impact of these interventions. A groundbreaking study on recent evolutionary changes in natural populations has been conducted by a team of international researchers. The study utilized a vast genomic dataset, one of the largest ever assembled for animals in their natural habitat, which included almost 4,000 Darwin's finches. A new study has provided valuable insights into the Roosmeland's dwarf porcupine, a neotropical species that has been poorly understood until now. This research, conducted after 22 years of limited knowledge, reveals important information about its distribution, evolutionary relationships, and potential risks to its conservation. The new analysis of frailties within the UK's food system has been led by researchers from the University of York and Anglia Ruskin University and is published in the journal Sustainability. In the study, civil unrest is classified as over 30,000 people in the UK suffering violent injury in 1 year through events such as demonstrations and violent looting. A team of researchers has announced the creation of a novel composite material with the ability to alter its properties based on temperature changes, allowing it to execute specific tasks. These materials are expected to be incorporated into the next wave of self-governing robotics that can engage with the surrounding environment. A new form of random number generator for encryption, created at Linköping University in Sweden, has the potential to make digital information exchange safer, more cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. The researchers involved in the study believe that this innovative technology could open up possibilities for a novel form of quantum communication. Using the Maroon X instrument on the Gemini North Telescope, the team was able to identify and measure the abundance of 11 chemical elements in the atmosphere of the planet. Those include rock-forming elements whose abundances are not even known for giant planets in the solar system such as Jupiter or Saturn. Even though our computers are now better than 15 years ago, they still malfunction between 11 and 20% of the time, a new study concludes. The researchers behind the study therefore find that there are major gains to be achieved for society by rethinking the systems and involving users more in their development. Increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere from human activity traps heat within the climate system, warming air, the land surface, the oceans, and melting polar ice. Oceans do by far the most work, absorbing more than 90% of the excess human-generated heat accumulated in the Earth's climate system, moderating atmospheric temperature rises. Numerous fossil sites in southern Africa preserve distinctive three-toed footprints that have been named Trisauropodiscus. For many years, researchers have debated what animals might have left these tracks, as well as precisely how many different species, technically called ichnospecies, of Trisauropodiscus there are. An endlessly rotating beach ball, a program that crashes without saving data or systems that require illogical procedures or simply do not work. Unfortunately, struggling with computers is still a familiar situation for most of us. Tearing your hair out over computers that do not work remains very common among users, according to new Danish research. When researchers analyzed pellets made from recycled plastic gathered in 13 countries, they discovered numerous harmful substances, such as pesticides and pharmaceuticals. As a result, the scientists concluded that recycled plastics are unsuitable for many applications and pose a challenge to the establishment of a circular economy. Although scientific consensus on human responsibility, reaffirmed by the sixth report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, has been in place for decades, a third of the population still doubts or disputes it. This phenomenon can be explained by the disinformation spread by certain companies and lobbies over the last 50 years. Now, Northwestern University chemists have developed a new catalyst that quickly, cleanly, and completely breaks down nylon 6 in a matter of minutes, without generating harmful byproducts. Even better, the process does not require toxic solvents, expensive materials, or extreme conditions, making it practical for everyday applications. At this great age, putting a date on finds is very challenging, and we used luminescence dating to do this. These new dating methods have far-reaching implications, allowing us to date much further back in time, to piece together sites that give us a glimpse into human evolution. Melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, extreme heat waves. The consequences of climate change are more visible than ever, and the scientific community has confirmed that humans are responsible. Yet studies show that a third of the population still doubts or disputes these facts. The cause is disinformation spread by certain vested interests. Relatives of starfish, brittle stars, spend most of their time hiding under rocks and crevices in the ocean or burrowing in the sand. These shy marine creatures have no brain to speak of, just nerve cords running down each of their 5 wiggly arms, which join to form a nerve ring near their mouth. The study across 3 countries led by the Department of Psychology's Dr. Paul Hanel discovered people who prioritized achievement over enjoyment were less happy on the next day. Whereas those who aimed for freedom said they had a 13% increase in well-being, recording better sleep quality and life satisfaction. The social value of offsets, SVO, is an economic framework that will help policymakers calculate how much carbon should be stored in temporary offsets to make it equivalent to a permanent CO2 emission. Using the SVO metric, the researchers estimate that an offset sequestering 1 ton of carbon for 50 years is equivalent to between 0.3 to 0.5 tons permanently locked away. Intermittent fasting is a popular dietary trend that involves alternating periods of fasting and eating. Proponents claim that it can lead to weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity, and other health benefits. However, there are also potential risks such as nutrient deficiencies and eating disorders. It is important to consult with a healthcare professional before starting any fasting regimen. Income inequality is a significant social issue that affects communities worldwide. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, leading to social unrest and economic instability. To address this issue, governments can implement policies that promote equitable distribution of resources and opportunities. People love celebrating Christmas for plenty of reasons, but one of the best things about the holiday is getting together with loved ones to do fun Christmas activities. Telling the newest Christmas jokes, sharing funny Christmas memes, and even solving clever Christmas riddles bring out the holiday humor. You're busting a gut before you know it. The concept that a placebo or sham treatment can mimic genuine treatment effects is well established in science. While researchers have closely monitored this phenomenon, it has been typically cataloged separately from the in-depth analyses of the actual treatment outcomes. What sets our study apart is that we have brought together these two datasets: subjective beliefs and objective treatment measures.
Additionally,
supposed, actually, might, progress, division, multiples, accuracy, repeatedly, questions, successful, gasoline, atmosphere, temperature, hourly, maps, practice, widely,
examination,
language, styles, customer, collection, processing, application, accessible, Destination. Duties. Financial. Advisory.
Benefits.
Anxious. Deformed. Disappointment. Fractured.
Robust.
Sales. Destruction. Appropriate. Lucky.
Majority.
Major. Minority. Triggers. Multicultural. Masterpiece. Gap. Yield. Exercise.
Enormous.
Complicated. Book. Assessing. Physician.
Detect it.
Laboriously. Laboratory. Inaccurate. Optionally. Receptionist.
In animals, a movement is coordinated by a cluster of neurons in the spinal cord called the central contract patterns generator, CPG. This produces signals that drive muscles to contract rhythmically in a way that produces running or walking, depending on the pattern of pulses. A simple signal from the brain instructs the CPG to switch between different modes, such as going from a standstill to walking.
It is axiomatic that the best medium for teaching a child is his mother tongue. Psychologically, it is the system of meaningful signs that in his mind works automatically for expression and understanding. Sociologically, it is a means of identification among the members of the community to which he belongs. Educationally, he learns more quickly through it than through an unfamiliar linguistic medium.
Dogs aren't just man's best friend. Previous studies have shown that kids with dogs are less likely to develop asthma. Now a new study may show how, if results from mice apply to us. The work was presented at a meeting of the American Society for Microbiology. The study tests what's called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea is that extreme cleanliness may actually promote disease later on. Researchers collected dust from homes that had a dog. They fed that house dust to mice. They then infected the mice with a common childhood infection called respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV.
As with all human behavior, there are numerous reasons for it. But often it's caused by someone who feels the need to show their superiority over someone else, in order to feel that they aren't at the lowest level in hierarchy or a group of people. In some cases, one person simply dislikes the other, on the basis that the personality of one is in some way incompatible with that of the other person.
For all his fame and celebration, William Shakespeare remains a mysterious figure with regards to personal history. There are just two primary sources for information on the bard: his works, and various legal and church documents that have survived from Elizabethan times. Naturally, there are many gaps in this body of information, which tells us little about Shakespeare the man.
Now that the story's been scratched, it is only part of contingency planning. But it was a symptom of the dramatic turn of events in South Australia, and it flushed out other remarks from water academics and people like Tim Flannery, indicating that things were really much worse than had been foreshadowed, even earlier this year. So is Adelaide, let alone some whole regions of South Australia, in serious bother. Considering that the vast amount of its drinking water comes from the beleaguered Murray, something many of us outside the state may not have quite realized. Is their predicament something we have to face up to as a nation?
Every child deserves the right to an education without prejudice. Nonetheless, the question is whether bilingual education provides children with an equitable education. Are minority students taught as effectively as their counterparts in English-only classrooms? It is crucial to determine if bilingual school students receive the same curricular content as other students, as this significantly impacts their performance. There has been some criticism from some researchers on the benefits of bilingual education. Baker noted that proficiency in one language improves on one side of a scale, and proficiency in the other language declines on the opposite side. Bilingual students with proficiency in English struggled with English language instructions, literacy, and school performance in the regular classroom. Those of you who've never heard the term Neo-Latin may be forgiven for thinking it's a new South American dance craze. If you're puzzled when I tell you it has something to do with the language of Romans, take heart. Over the years many classes who have confessed they're not really sure what it is either. Some have assumed that they're so-called Late Latin, written at the end of the Roman Empire. The effect of the first difference is, on the one hand, to refine and enlarge the public views, by passing them through the medium of a chosen body of citizens, whose wisdom may best discern the true interests of their country, and whose patriotism and love of justice will be least likely to sacrifice it to temporary or partial considerations. Under such a regulation, it may well happen that the public voice pronounced by the representatives of the people will be more consonant to the public good than if pronounced by the people themselves, convened for the purpose.
For all his fame and celebration, William Shakespeare remains a mysterious figure with regards to personal history. There are just two primary sources for information on the bard: his works, and various legal and church documents that have survived from Elizabethan times. Naturally, there are many gaps in this body of information, which tells us little about Shakespeare the man.
Financial markets swung wildly yesterday in the frenzied trading market by further selling of equities and fears about an unraveling of the global carry trade at the same time. Trading in the US and European credit markets were exceptionally heavy for a third consecutive day. London trading was marked by particularly wild swings in the prices of credit derivatives, used to insure investors against corporate defaults. I'm going to argue that the tremendous increases in productivity that we associate with the Industrial Revolution originate not so much from changes in science or technology or new inventions, where England was far from unique, as from changes in attitudes towards morality, towards what constitutes the good. Attitudes towards property, which became England individuals long before it did on the continent. Attitudes toward the proper role of government. And together, these attitudes constitute much of what the Luddites were protesting against.
The chapter now proceeds to consider those classroom contexts where the home language of students is developed. We first consider the importance of and issues related to home language development in schools. Next we discuss the challenges bilingual students may face in monolingual schools, and ways such schools can still provide scaffolding and bilingual supports. We then turn to the specific context of bilingual immersion and the features and strategies used in these classrooms. Before we conclude, we consider a range of key topics for effective bilingual schools in general.
Well, in 2004 we integrated ticketing in southeast Queensland, so we introduced a paper ticket that allowed you to travel across all the 3 modes in southeast Queensland. So bus, train and ferry, and the second stage of integrated ticketing is the introduction of a smart card, and the smart card will enable people to store value, so to put value on the card, and then to use the card for traveling around the system.
He learnt a lot about technique, particularly narrative voice. You will develop an understanding of essential novel writing techniques.
This module is to identify and analyze your ideas. During the examination, electronic devices must be left to the supervisors. Organizational failure is considered from various perspectives in academic literature.
A few journalism students need to read the school newspaper. Cells are the basic building blocks of all animals and plants.
After the introduction, you can start elaborating on the topic.
We have curated a complete guide on how to write an essay.
It is our moral duty to facilitate the perfect learning environment for our students.
There is often a tremendous amount of personal satisfaction.
They can also be distinguished between private and public companies.
Late submissions likely won't receive attention or thorough consideration.
Access the lecture slides and notes online after the class ends.
To excel, you must practice a specific skill repeatedly and consistently.
Thorough testing procedures serve to confirm the accuracy of factual information.
Tomorrow's lesson will assess your understanding of complex material.
Instructors will grant approval for your extensive paper following thorough discussion.
Mathematics instructors are presently encountering certain challenges in their teaching roles.
Certain individuals thrive in competitive scenarios, while others favor cooperative endeavors.
Professionals have developed methods for quantifying plant growth through numerical measurements. The concept has inherent imperfections and necessitates thorough and deliberate evaluation.
This book discusses cultural impacts on our actions significantly.
Digital systems have simplified borrowing books, making it more accessible today.
The university's website has many additional useful resources available.
Scholarships help meet financial needs of students globally and locally.
Part of the recipe includes adding boiling water to the mix.
Student union members can significantly influence university policy changes.
The seminar offers opportunities to exchange and discuss ideas with peers.
The meeting seemed minor, occurring in just a small room. To ensure clarity and avoid unnecessary repetition, it's important to be concise. This course provides students with practical experience relevant to the industry. More research is urgently needed in this particular field of study. The former lecturer often returns as a visitor to the campus. The university's theatre group plans to perform at the concert hall. The university official is ready to assist with your housing and transportation.
Most essential course texts are stocked in the university's library.
That period is often hailed as a golden era in English literature. This cart is made for transporting single items at one time.
The cafeteria menu includes a selection of dishes, fish and chicken alike. There's a push for universal access to free educational services.
By collaborating, we can create statues that are both imposing and magnificent. Some old system features have been integrated into the new one.
Always go through the safety rules before handling any class tools.
Eating regularly during the week has its health benefits.
I anticipated our meeting would be in the smaller conference room. He wasn't the only advocate pushing for legal reforms back then.
Art depicting freshwater life didn't appear until the modern era.
A consensus on climate change exists among many esteemed scientists.
Students of accounting should grasp profit and loss statements well.
Accounting students typically understand economics, statistics, and some psychology.
I truly believe it's among the best actions I've ever taken. We're trying to come up with new solutions for society's big issues.
I truly believe it's among the best actions I've ever taken.
The way we see different countries is changing because of the internet.
Trains help people travel far places much more easily.
If the government helps out, we could use solar energy more often.
As the world gets more crowded, more trees are being cut down. A good assistant always makes sure to get all the information needed.
Cultures around the world are finding ways to talk to each other. The goal we have is to make things less competitive for people.
The graph shows that there hasn't been a lot of growth recently.
Some old system features have been integrated into the new one.
Soon, forms will be handed out to students coming back to school. Make sure to include the pictures from the lecture in your work. Working shifts can make it hard to have a good family life. Our company is planning to recruit many new employees worldwide. Playing music can help you feel less stressed, experts say. Getting involved in art makes us really value the world around us. The president's speech drew a large crowd of interested listeners. Being flexible in your career choices is becoming increasingly crucial. Many schools offer programs to study abroad for a term or two. This shows us that there are a few different problems happening together. You can now watch many school classes online from your home. All living things start from a single cell that's very basic. Eating the right food is super important for sports people to do well. Our school works with others around the world to swap students. Learning how to manage your career well is very important nowadays. You're not allowed to use your cell phones in the library here. Good journalism stays important and influential for a very long time. If the roots get damaged, the plant's leaves will start to die. City planners work to make our neighborhoods work better and grow. Soon, money experts will give talks to important visitors here. Our school lunch place has lots of different snacks and drinks. The remnants trickled down to the lowest part of the valley. The sources listed for this essay don't really cover what's needed. We must act to prevent an increase in the unemployment rate. We can add up numbers perfectly without making mistakes using calculators. A disease that was once dangerous is now no longer a threat. Journalists with qualifications often have many different job opportunities. The best managers are always open to trying new things. These students learned a lot from teachers who knew a lot. Great actors seem to naturally know how to own the stage. Remember, your homework is due next Tuesday without fail. Tests and exams will be the main part of your grade. Schools really care about stopping students from copying work. Please put the book back where it belongs in the library. A good abstract quickly tells you what the study is about. Doing activities outside class helps students learn more skills. Make sure to read Chapter 1 before our management class. With the weather changing, farmers are changing how they farm. Learning to think critically is a big part of good education. Soon, a well-known conductor will lead the orchestra in concert. The history class includes 3 big writing assignments for grading. Philosophers use logic to deeply understand why people do things. There are 4 main parts to the project you're doing. Going to the museum is a really good learning experience. Special programs let you look into what you're interested in. Working out makes you feel good and keeps your body healthy. Watching people helps us figure out why they do things. You'll learn what you need to do in the class outline. They're fixing up every part of the building right now. The goal is to get new people to invest in the company. We're not taking requests for more stuff right now, sorry. There are many ways to manage a business well before coming in. Printers now automatically print stuff on both paper sides. The student graduation is a ceremony that's known by many. Old tools and artifacts are found at archaeological dig sites. Pick a question that's safe when you make a new password. New economics students have a meeting coming up on Tuesday. Write down where you got your information from very carefully.
Answering some questions is needed to change your password.
Ask your tutor for extra help if you really need it. The government should help colleges and universities to grow bigger.
Students from all over come here to study as international scholars.
Visit the gallery on Fridays when it's open to everyone. Long makeup use can sometimes lead to unexpected allergies. Sign up now if you want to go to the conference.
The library boasts a large, important collection on economic history.
There's going to be a show in the main hall at school. Make sure to look over your work well before you finish.
We have good ways to learn how the brain works now.
Think of everything you get from the school as helpful tools.
Writing things down can help you pay attention better in class.
If there's a fire, everyone should leave by the nearest exit.
Calculating how things move is part of physics and math. This research is making us question what we thought we knew.
Check with your teacher before you turn in your big paper.
Everyone here has to follow the rules of this place. You have to turn in your schoolwork at the weekend. The law is there to protect people who put money into businesses.
Researchers are using the web to look into different problems now.
We're still not sure what really happened in those old stories.
Plan your study time well to make sure you review everything.
It's best to email your teachers if you have questions about class.
True or false tests seem harder to students than essay questions.
Parents often simplify their vocabulary when speaking with their kids. The school's garden becomes a beautiful spot to relax during summertime.
Reserve your books at the library's help desk for easy pickup.
To know when we're open, please look at our online site.
People who study journalism usually work in news or public relations.
All living things, no matter how different, share some same parts.
Doing things and just learning about them in school are different.
You can find your class times on the school's webpage.
The new professor will teach their first chemistry class tomorrow.
Work through these math questions using what you've learned.
We want everyone in our department to succeed together. It's hard for farmers to work with the weather being so strange.
Sleeping too much might not be as good as you think. Getting enough money for research is very important for universities.
Colleges are now putting money into new ways to teach with tech.
Teachers should make what they want students to learn very clear.
Today's class will show you different ways to show data clearly.
Criticism. Certainly. Fertilizer. Excellent. Intellectual. Affection. Affordable. Affinity. Genuinely. Equipment. Boost. Integrated. Interface. Varies. Enamored. Immense. Achievable. Gardener. Commentary. Featured. Pandemic. Reference. Existence. Encouraging. fosters, facilitate, capacity,
occurrence,
achievement,
archaeologist, recommendation, undergraduate, communication, reconciliation, implementation, transformation, transportation, identification, consideration, understand, international, opportunity, accommodation, complementary, manufacturing, composition, entertainment, statistically, commencement, qualification, circumstance, sophisticated, incorporate, automatically, participation, postgraduate, dissertation, professional,
compound,
Proofread. Comprehensive. Dictionaries. Acclimatization. Pronunciation. Thesaurus. Synonyms. Prefixes. Uppercase. Advertisement. Guarantee. Hypocrite. Enable. Influential. Potatoes. Personnel. Peace. Privilege. Cue. Receipt. Religion. Radicals. Scenery. Undoubtedly. Obedient. Exaggerate. Millionaire. Principally. Trigger. Jet. Controversy. Initially. Oceanographer. Psychological. Predicament. Contemporary. Serious. Shadow. Consciously. Introduce. Apologize. Legitimate. Irrelevant. Equally. Charity. Associate. Stare. Relationship. Pragmatic. Explain. Range. Medium. Economic. Strike. Immune. Understand.
Stabilizer. Narrative. Contentment. Efficiency. Enhancing. Inclusive. Dismantling. Equitable.
Philosophy.
Systemic. Advocating.
Misinformation. Transcends. Accessibility. Universal. Continuous. Promoting. Displacement. Consideration. Norms. Societal. Ethical. Fostering. Emotional. Medium. February. Advertising. Export.
Constriction. Lifting.
Prediction. Punishment. Transportation. Variation.
Closing.
Teamwork. Monetary. Diseases. Recommendation. Board. Movements. Synthetic. Productivity. Climate. Observations. Academic. Globe. Consistently.
Technician.
Social. Manipulation. Galaxy. Distinctive. Ferry. Million. Individual. Objects. Philosophical. Originally. Boat.